Hi everybody, this is Rose of Sharon and I'm back again with another book review. I just recently read Terry Goodkin's novella, The Children of Dara, and this is actually the third book in the series of The Children of Dara, and there are two more coming out, and I will definitely read them because they are absolutely phenomenal. This one's called Wasteland, and of course this is a fantasy in the purest sense of a fantasy with elements of sci-fi actually scattered within it. It's very reminiscent of The Dark Tower, I think. That's just how I equivocate it, and it's actually quite well written, and you have this character called the Golden Goddess who, for whatever intent or purpose, she has exonerated or banned forbidden magic, and that just made me go because it really reminds me of the realm of Harry Potter before Muggles ever had the idea that there even was magic. And this is a world all in and of itself, and you have different characters that have different abilities, and it's very much reminiscent of your basic D&D. Is what it really reminded me of. It was like combination D&D with smatterings of Shannara and Dark Tower, which I really love the Dark Tower. But Terry Goodkin has his own way of really reeling you into his story with all these different characters that are involved. And small spoiler alert is that Vika, she's actually taken, she's held in a she's actually held on the Wasteland, and her friends have to go and rescue her from this fate worse than death because she's going to get flayed. Let me just put it that way. And just the amount of gore and violence is on George R.R. Martin levels. You think, oh my gosh, holy crud. You really feel for her, especially with the situation she's in. And this particular villain is really, really twisted. He is absolutely atrocious. He has no redeeming qualities. He is inhumane, to put it very bluntly. And the book is really short. I got through it very, very quickly. And the cliffhanger, boy, what a cliffhanger that was. The cliffhanger just left me wanting more. And, of course, the end of the book actually states the story continues. Episode 4, he's calling it an episode, which I thought was really quite funny because when you think of episodes, you think television. But in my head, I could actually see all these events playing, all these scenarios actually playing out, and what this particular realm actually looks like. And in the third book, you just think, I don't even know how they find the will to go on, given their scenario. Sorry, their situation. A scenario. That's the new word I just coined. It's a situation combined with a scenario. Oh man, but it's really incredibly written, and I highly, highly recommend it if you're a friend of Terry Goodkin. If you're not a friend, if you're a follower of Terry Goodkin, if you enjoy his work and how he writes. And actually, I'm going to read a little bit. There's a little bit of traveling between dimensions in this as well, which I really like. But I'm going to read a little bit from chapter 2 just because the way he writes is just so entrancing and enchanting. I love his penchant for wordplay and how vivid he is in his exposition of a scene, but I'm going to go ahead and read. "What do you wish to do, Lord Rawl?" Vika asked. He finally drew back from Kalan. What my grandfather would have said to do, of course. Vika pulled her single long blonde braid toward her shoulder and held it in her fist as she looked down at him. Finally, she hopped down off the short stone wall. "I don't understand, Lord Rawl. Zed, my grandfather, always said to think of the solution, not the problem. The problem is that Kahan can't travel in the Sylph. We're focused on that problem." "I didn't know your grandfather." Vika looked at a loss. "I'm sorry, Lord Rawl, but I don't know what that means." "It means instead of taking the problem that the Sylph can't take us all, we instead think of the solution. I'm hoping we'll be safe at the keep. Kalan especially, so we don't need to get there. If the problem is that she can't go in the Sylph, the solution is that we have to get there another way." Vika brightened. "I will get horses and supplies together." Richard smiled at her. "Good thinking, Vika. That's the solution." Shale stepped closer. "Lord Rawl, won't that be dangerous? Traveling all the way there? I'm from the northern waste, which has enough of its own dangers, and I've heard very ugly things about many of the places down there. I've heard that Dara is dangerous enough in its own right, but the Midlands is savage and weird, and traveling across it can be quite perilous." Well, yeah, duh. You figured that out later on in the book. Kalan knew the truth of that. When she used to travel the Midlands, she always had Giller, an experienced wizard, with her at all times for protection. Yeah, you always need a good wizard for your party. That's what I learned in D&D. And more powerful than Giller had ever been. His experience. Hey. Richard was a wizard, of course, and more powerful than Giller had ever been. But Giller did have the advantage of having been trained his whole life in the use of his craft and the dangers of the Midlands. See, I love that. He hooks you the minute you start reading because you think, oh, I'm in for a bumpy ride. And you are in for a bumpy ride, especially this golden goddess. You learn to just absolutely loathe her. You think, why could you ban such a wonderful thing as magic? I'm sure that she has her reasons for doing so, but it seems so very restricting, especially with Richard, of course, being as powerful as he is and having the skill set that he possesses to get them through the waste. And it's just expertly written. It's just got this way of segueing into what you think, oh, it can't get any worse. Yeah, it gets worse. But the characters, they continue trucking on where they pull through, they push forward. Even when Vika is taken forcefully from them, they know they have to save her or she very well will die. Especially with to whom she's at the mercy of. And yeah, that's really, really nasty. But I'm really looking forward to Witch's Oath and Into Darkness, because this is very, very well written, and I loved every moment of it. I could not put it down. So that's all I got to say about Wasteland, The Children of Dara, Book 3. Live long, prosper. Ciao, tutti.